Hello everyone, welcome to TalentEgg Talks featuring Vale, coming to you virtually from the comfort and safety of our homes. My name is Mary Beryl and I'm president of TalentEgg. I'm very pleased to host our chat today. Joining us to answer your questions are Carter Senis, who's a 2020 Global Trainee, and Gabriel Fillion, who's an engineer in training with Vale. Vale is a global natural resource company headquartered in Brazil with its base metals business headquartered in Toronto. They're the global leader in the production of iron ore, nickel, copper, and cobalt. It's wonderful to have you both here today, virtually, to answer our viewers' questions. Thank you for joining us, Carter and Gabriel.
Hello, thanks for having us. I'm really excited to be here as well. So I'm from Queen's University. I just graduated this past spring in mining engineering with the specialty option for mineral processing. And yeah, really excited to do this interview with you here today.
Great. And Gabriel?
Hi, Gabriel. I'll just discover through the interview I got a good French accent. So I do come from Sherbrooke University in Quebec. I graduated in chemical engineering after doing multiple internships, and mining was the one for me. And like Carter said, I'm pretty happy to be here today.
Wonderful. Well, we asked our community of students and grads to submit any questions they had for you. Thank you to those of you in the audience who've submitted your questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can in our time today. But before we begin, Carter and Gabriel, did you want to provide a brief background on Vale's Global Trainee Program?
Yeah, sure. So the Global Trainee Program actually lasts for 18 months. So through that, you're going to learn multiple leadership key behavior, actually multiple rotation as well. In the same company, you're going to move in different location, you're going to create a network with people. And at the end of this 18-month program, you're actually guaranteed a job at Vale.
Great. And Carter, did you have anything to add?
So it's both opportunities for engineers and non-engineers, and that includes EIT or GIT positions. Yeah, and I think he really summed it up well. It's you stay on with Vale full-time after those 18 months, and it's really just a fast track into like understanding some of the leadership and business management skills at Vale.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to hearing more. But right now, let's get to the questions that were submitted by our audience. From Mohammed from the University of Alberta Electrical Engineering Program, he says, I'd love to join Vale's Global Trainee Program. My question is, what kind of personality traits is Vale looking for?
I guess I'll start off with this one. I think the biggest thing is it's someone who has an interest in working with different people and backgrounds and like challenges the status quo. And while it's not really necessarily a personality trait, I think also someone who just is safety conscious in everything that they do. Like it needs to be a fundamental part of who they are. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that point, Gabriel?
Yeah, no, again, totally agree with that. Trades that are looking is like a high positive energy, right? Because there's some people have energy, but if they're not focused on putting it as positive, then it makes a difference. Strong resilience as well. We're in the business mining industry that's been there for so many years. So changing those patterns sometimes takes lots of resilience. So yeah, energy, resilience, and potential for growth. And again, care about sustainable mining.
I'd like to just add one more thing to that. So one of the biggest values for me, I think that really put me ahead of the pack in terms of the application process was my curiosity, constantly wanting to learn more. I think that's a really common trait amongst me and my fellow global trainees.
Well, that sounds like really great advice. So I'd like to ask you the next question that was submitted. What is the difference between the Global Trainee Program and the EITGIT program?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. The Global Trainee Program, the biggest difference is the fact that it's the initial 18-month in-doc period, like Gabriel was saying previously, in which there's really a focus on leadership and management skills. So allowing our trainees not to just have technical expertise in terms of their professional development, but also kind of understanding other departments within the companies, things such as sustainability and diversity, business analytics. Maybe if you're a mining engineer, you kind of get to see more of the geology side and various other aspects as well.
Great. We have another question from Haley from the University of Toronto who asks, what are your best networking tips for undergraduate students looking to get into the mining field?
For me, it was attending competitions and conferences. So as a mining engineer, there's a lot of different opportunities, such as Canadian Mining Games. Anything that's run by the CIM can be really great to kind of learn about how Vale and other natural resource companies position themselves both within Canada and in international domains. And I think that's a great way to not only meet professionals in the industry, but also peers that you'll be working with down the line. I've already run into quite a few people at Vale that I didn't know got hired as well. And it's a really small industry at times, it can feel like.
And Gabriel?
Yeah, like I said, I really love interaction face-to-face. Same as Carter, right? The networking in person, as you get the feedback from the person right away, you know if there's a connection or not. But now with COVID, it's a bit harder. So very encourage people to build their network through LinkedIn. To be honest, I've never been told, sorry, I don't want to be contacted for personal growth, right? It's always nice, even from the receiving end, or receiving like the request. I was like, oh, okay, somebody actually needs my help or wants input. So yeah, strongly encouraged to do it on LinkedIn. And some of those conferences that Carter mentioned are actually offering online now. And so that's a very great opportunity as well.
Okay, terrific. And now I want to move to a question that's really, I guess, a bit more personal. And this really is about why you in particular wanted to work with Vale. Carter?
Yeah, so for me, coming out of school, I was fortunate enough to have several opportunities, but Vale really set themselves apart with both the interview process and the size of the company. The size of the company just has so many different, and in how many countries they operate in, there's so many opportunities to explore that aren't just technical. So this global trainee program for me really suits my professional development path, because I'm really looking into doing more things that are surrounded throughout sustainability. I really want to work with our long range team and understand some of the more financial aspects of mining. And then the interview process I thought was really cool because it really takes away from the educational background and the job experience that you've had prior, but it's more so focusing on who you are and some of those soft skills. I think we'll speak more about this later.
And Gabriel, what were your reasons?
For me, actually, I did lots of internship through my program. So I knew I wanted to go in mining and I wanted to have this new grad experience. So I was looking for multiple company. And then looking at the one from Vale, I was like, oh, okay, it looks actually interesting. Get in the interview process while doing interview with other job as well at the same time in parallel. And like Carter said, like interview process was something different. There was something I was like, oh, okay, triggering the motivation to continue this process, right? So this interview process was amazing. And the fact that it's an international company as well, it's giving lots of international opportunity in the future, good connection as well. And the thing I did the most is the research about the company, realized that the value were totally aligned with mine. So I said, that's it. That's the next job I'll have.
So Gabriel, maybe you could elaborate on what stood out about the program at Vale.
Yeah, so first of all, there was actually the Vale experience. Before COVID, it was a lot more easier. Now there's some restriction about traveling, so I cannot commit to those. But this experience was mainly focused to, we went to Brazil, we connect with other global trainee there. The good takeaway of that was the connection with other people and the peers. And I believe Carter is going to talk about it, but they're still doing it right now online, connecting with people in Indonesia, in Brazil. So very broadening your network internationally. That's very amazing. And they also offer a rotation program. So multiple discipline inside your 18 months, which is for me amazing as well. Yeah.
So a real global reach to your network. Carter, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's been a really cool experience. I mean, you make the best of the situation that you're put in. And with COVID, we've had to like transfer or shift to this new online interaction and kind of meeting some of those global trainees that I work with, not only here in Canada, but also Indonesia and Brazil, has been a really cool opportunity to experience what kind of cultural impacts they bring to the workplace, or what kind of ways that we can work together to formulate different projects. So one of our core things that stood out to me was the multidisciplinary project. It's really neat to work with mechanical engineers, geologists, business analysts, myself being a mining engineer, and all coming together to focus on one core project.
So you did make mention of the impact of COVID-19. How did Vale's workplace culture change after COVID? Gabriel?
Yeah, so yeah, I'll take that one there. Coming from operational side, for me, it was pretty common. We had our morning meetings. Everybody was all in the room, all the work group, so we can see if there's any overlap for work, like to assess the safety of this work's going to affect this other one there. So now the communication between supervisor of those work group became way more important because they need to be aligned with the work that's going to be done during the day, but in different hours. So for us, operation, different work groups start at an interval of 30 or an hour difference. So we're not all in the room at the same time. And from the office, we started wearing masks every day. And actually, it just became the new normal for us, right? We understand the safety and we don't want to spread the virus. So now it's just, it's totally, we got used to it.
Carter?
And for me, I kind of came in, like I just got hired on this past spring and joined in the summer. And for me, the new normal was the only normal that I had ever experienced. So it was an interesting start to a career. And it's been really positive to see how many different innovative approaches the entire staff and company have really like taken. So like the different kaizens, such as ways that we can get down into underground mining without being too close, just as an example, putting up cage dividers. Those kind of initiatives have been really inspirational.
About something else, we talked about operation for us, but in the office, the company is also providing an allocation to adapt your workplace station. So even though the worker working from home, the company is supporting them.
Great. So you feel that this process, you've been well taken care of by Vale.
Yeah, totally.
And okay, well, that's great news. I'd like to get back to some of the submitted questions from our students. Lauren from Ryerson University asks, why should I consider a career in mining? What are the perks and benefits?
So for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do coming out of high school. I knew I wanted to be an engineer, so I took a general first year at mining, or a general first year at Queen's, and we kind of get to explore all the different paths. And the orientation night was kind of what sold me on mining, and it was really understanding the idea that mining is such an essential industry to Canada's GDP, but also it's so essential to local communities all throughout Canada. Sudbury being a prime example. It really is the like life and like blood of like some of these communities, and it's interesting to be a part of, to say the least. It's also really positive being a part of the shift that mining has historically been one of these things that hasn't always had the most positive connotation, but there's so many opportunities to be providing the essential metals for renewable energy sources, EV batteries, things like that. And moving forward, I'm really proud to be a part of the generation that like will change that connotation that mining has.
Gabriel, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, it was actually a very good explanation there. Only minor thing I'll add is, again, I fully support like more sustainable mining. And in mining, actually, there's the mining process, their concentrator, smelter, refinery, logistic. Like there's so many opportunity. Like mining is a small word compared to like all the possibility that you have. So, yeah.
So that broad exposure to different parts of the industry is also what you're learning from as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
We have another question, and it's related to the program. What was the most valuable thing you learned during the program? Gabriel?
Yeah, so I'll go on that one. I did touch base a bit about it. It was actually the connection with the peers. We talk a lot about networking, fostering your network, building strong relationship, because at one point, every relation that you have in your company or even outside company with like Thomson, Manitoba, Voisey Bay, multiple company, it is going to have an impact. Like mining is so vast everywhere in the world, but the world itself is so small. Like Carter said, you're going to meet some people you didn't expect to meet, right? So as a global trainee, it was really, the company enables you to facilitate those connections. And so you need to take full advantage of it. And it gives you the edge at the end.
Well, we have another question from Eric from the University of Waterloo, who asks, the program says 18 months. What happens after that? Is this a permanent placement after the 18-month period? Carter, do you want to take that on?
Yeah, so just to be perfectly clear, after the 18 months, you are a Vale employee, and it's exactly what kind of Gabriel said in that previous question. It's those relationships that you make throughout the company. It's those rotations that you've had throughout those 18 months and all those things that you've learned. You take those tools and you figure out how to best implement yourself. You really get to be the driver of your own career in those early stages, and you really set yourself up. So for me, I'll probably be transitioning more into what a classical EIT rotational program is for mining, continuing to do different rotations throughout the company.
Well, we have another question from Carson from McMaster University, Geography and Earth Sciences, who asks, what do you think made you stand out as a candidate for the Global Trainee Program? Maybe you could start with that, Carter, and let us know, and then to Gabriel.
It's really important to be yourself. The interview process, like we said prior, it's very unique. It's not about your resume. It's about who you are. It's about those soft skills. It's about being funny, being open, honest, like so many different things. Like a good global trainee is someone that wants to work together in different teams and continuously learn. And I could keep going, but I'm going to let Gabriel take it.
Yeah, good one there. Again, and I do relate, like I'm seeing him talking, I was like, oh yeah, it feels like me, right? It's such a high positive energy, very passionate people. You can feel it when someone talks passion about his job. It's like, hey, this guy loves what he's doing. And it does make a difference. Again, being honest and yeah.
Well, thank you both. Alana from UBC Engineering Program asks, what is your favorite thing about working at Vale? Gabriel, maybe you want to start with that question.
Yeah, so we mentioned again, it's a very big company looking for international opportunity in the future again. The thing that I like and being part of this recruitment process is that Vale is very pushing for the equality and gender balance on the first front of it, right? It's very motivating to see your own company doing those kind of diversification in the workforce, right? You're seeing them. And even one of our goals is to double the female workforce percentage by 2030, which is just pretty great, right? Having many manager here who are actually women, and Amy, my manager, she totally changed my behavioral, right? I'm seeing the change, and yeah, we need those people. That's good.
I'm sure Alana will appreciate hearing about that. Carter, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, for me, it's Vale's focus on the future, and not just for diversity, but also for sustainability. That's something that really hits home to me, is the consciousness of how does a natural resource a company of this size impact the environment, and some of the initiatives and things that we're able to help out with in both the local and the national and the international stage. It's been quite incredible to even just start, and I can't wait to see what happens in years to come.
Terrific. Well, we have another question. What should I include in my resume to stand out? Carter?
Yeah, so the resume is not all that important. The only time you'll see a resume is on the final round of interviews. The first few rounds of interviews are all focused on those soft skills. It's how do you communicate with others? Well, you'll be doing both individual and team-based activities that kind of focus on things like your emotional quotient, things like how do you break down given problems, but not just by yourself, but with others. And it's a really great application process.
Terrific. And Gabriel, the final question, what training is provided? Are there opportunities to explore other positions or departments?
Yes, totally. There's a big push with our CEO right now about Vale production system, which is based on Toyota production system. So it's very safety, operational excellence, and continuous improvement. And the good thing about Global Trainee is it's not only training your hard skills, it's also training your soft skills, emotional intelligence. Those are skills, and empathy, right? Those are skills that are actually going to be developed through all the years now. And like Carter said, you got to take full ownership of your own development. Again, that's what we're doing, right?
Well, thank you to our community for some wonderful questions for our guests. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. Carter and Gabriel, do you have any final thoughts for students and new grads?
I'll repeat it. I'm pretty sure Carter as well. We're both pretty happy and glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation, Mary. I'm very confident that we're actually having people listening here right now. We're going to work with them in the future. So we look forward to it. And one of Vale value is actually improving together. So feel free to reach out to me at Carter on LinkedIn if you have questions, concern. Don't hesitate to connect with us on LinkedIn. I will be glad to guide you there.
And Carter, any final advice?
Again, I just want to say thank you so much for having us, Mary. This has been such a great opportunity to be able to talk about how passionate me and Gabriel are about our jobs and about the industry that we work in. And for me, one of my favorite pieces of advice coming out of university was always stay uncomfortable. As long as you're staying uncomfortable in the positions that you're in, that's challenging you to learn more. And that's how you continuously improve. And that's really what the Global Trainee Program is about. It's about learning as much as you can. And yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for your time and helpful advice. And thanks to our audience for joining in, as we'll be sure to tune in to our next TalentEgg Talks as well. Visit our website, talentegg.ca, to find out more information about Vale. Have an excellent day.